Hello, everyone. Good morning or good evening, depending on where you are on the planet. Welcome in the studio of Coaching Real. I'm Mariya Dimitrova, your intuitive love, sex, and relationship coach. Today, we are going to talk about the topic how to improve our self awareness and why. Hello, everyone that is here. Please write me in the comments, say hello so that I can see who I'm with tonight. And please don't hesitate to send me any questions or any comments that you might have during the session. Hello, Stanislava. Very nice to see you. So before we actually dive deep into the topic today, I'd like to take a second to introduce you to the two exciting events that are happening over the next 2 weeks, because I don't think I'll have another chance to meet you and invite you to these two events. So there are two very, very meaningful and deep events that are going to happen. So this Sunday, we have, for the first time, live in person in London. So we are going to meet to do CAP together, and I've rented out a studio, and we're going to meet for the first time in London to do CAP. CAP is Kundalini activation process. For those ones that do not know what it is a deep process of self-awareness. It's a deep process of surrender to the truth of who we are. It is a process where we awaken the life force energy and connect us to the non-dual energy transmission, and we're able to receive information, insight, deep rewiring and transformation from within. It's a process that deeply connects us to the root and the core of who we are, and help us really ground our deep realizations and ground our greatness, and really help us to more powerfully manifest it. So if you are interested in this event, please write in the comments below the word CAP, and I will send you more details to this event. It will be really magical and extra special because, in fact, we will be two facilitators. We're not going to be one, we're going to be two facilitators. I have a CAP sister coming from Netherlands who's going to come and join me for this event, and we're going to deliver extra powerful and more magical events. So it is not an event to miss out on. Please come along. You'll be amazing. You'll be in person, which is amazing. It's something that we've all been looking for, especially after COVID. So please come along, and don't hesitate to contact me for more details of this event. So if you are in London, don't hesitate and come along. Try it out. It's a really profound experience. So that's one. And next weekend, I'd like to invite you to my collaboration project that me and the founder of Coaching Real, Stanislava Pavlova, both of us are doing this incredible collaboration on the 4th of December, which is next Saturday. We're going to do an online workshop that's going to last 4 hours, and it's going to be dedicated to what I'm going to talk today about the topic. It is really for our workshop on willful and unwillful practices. We're going to talk about this more deeply in this session, so stay with us to see what we mean by this. But more broadly, the willful practices are practices that require our will. These are different processes that we consciously choose to use in order to become more self-aware and take charge of our lives, so that we can really open up ourselves to the beauty, the magic, and the abundance of life. And the second 2 hours, the second part of the training will be dedicated to the path of surrender. The path of surrender, which is the path of complete let go and complete surrender to what is. And this is a state where we open up space for insight, for connection, for truth, and in real change to happen without our demands, without our will to be present, and we just really open up to what is. It is a profound experience, and it's it's an experience where you receive the so-called Shaktipat transmission of information and insight, so that you can really connect to on a deeper level and more expanded level to deeper parts of yourself that you probably didn't know existed. So these two energies can really be used, these two practices, willful and non-willful practices, can be used in in various forms and shapes in a way to balance each other so that you can have the best results and the best balance that really works for you in your life. So it's a very special event. Please come along, join the group if you want to attend. You can join my Facebook group, which I'm just posting in the comments below. And if you join that group, it's a completely free group. You will have more information about CAP, more information about the path of surrender, and more information about how to sign up to this event at a discounted price, which is only available to the people in this group. So do not miss out on the opportunity to be part of this group. It's completely free, and you will receive a lot of discounts, and you will also receive information about future events that I'll be doing. So do not hesitate to enter and join our group. We are a gorgeous community where we really support each other and empower each other to grow, expand, and enjoy the abundance of life. So having said that, let's dive deep into our topic, how to improve our self-awareness and why. So first I want to talk about the why, because the why is always the bigger question. Why do we need to be more self-aware? This is different to being self-conscious, by the way. I just want to make this little difference, because in English, being self-conscious is very, very different state of being. Why do we need to improve our self-awareness? And why do we even need it in the first place? Why is it important to be self-aware? Just like to take a little, take a second to just ask yourself and receive an answer. In the meantime, I'd like to share my thoughts on it. So we all know that our life is a reflection of our consciousness. It is a total and complete mirror of who we are from within. And the things that we have in our life are the things that we are connected to. And the things that we don't have in our life are the things that we're not connected to. And whether we like it or not, that's plain reality. So what we have in our life are the things that we're connected to. And things that we don't have in our life are the things that we're not connected to. Unfortunately, we don't like everything that we have in our life, which means that, yes, there are parts of ourselves that are big and that are great and that have created potentially great things in our life that we enjoy, that bring us joy and help us grow and expand and connect and, and really support us in our lives. And that is a great, that is a part of us that exists, that is true and that it's real, and it's already manifesting itself in our life. That's our true potential. And that's great, because our potential is here to be manifested. Our potential is here to serve others, because essentially our talents are here not for us. They're here so that we can serve others in the world with them, right? So it's our own responsibility to understand what's our purpose in life, what are our talents, what are our abilities that are inherent to us, that only we carry, so that we can really serve the world with our skills, abilities, and talents. On the other side, we have things in our life that we don't like. Maybe we have relationships that are hurtful. Maybe we don't enjoy our job. Maybe we feel lack of orientation in our lives. Or maybe we experience friendships that are hurtful and experience betrayal. Or maybe we are constantly trying to change the situations from outside, but nothing really works out, because when we try to change something, it only works out to the extent that after a little while we realize that it's the same story, just new people. So why is it so important to be self-aware? It is important to be self-aware because in order to create a lasting change in life, we need to be able to create from different place within us. Because we all have our greatness, we all have our inherent abilities, and we all have our intuition, greater states of being, and our connection to the divine, and our connection to to our deepest parts of ourselves, and, and our talents, and we all have this greatness that exists within us that is so limitless and expansive. But in the same time, we are also human beings that have an ego. We all have an ego, and the ego is a compilation of all our stories that we tell to ourselves, or our belief system that we hold within our unconscious minds. And what happens is that unless we're self-aware, we believe those beliefs, we believe these stories, and it almost feels like, because if we're not self-aware, we're like dolls, dolls that are directed by the belief system that we have within. It feels as if our life is directed by our unconscious mind unless we become self-aware. There is a saying that unless the unconscious become conscious, it will direct our life, and we'll call it fate. A lot of people talk about signs in the universe and signs in our lives, but I'll tell you, there's no signs. It's our unconscious that creates our reality. And if we are unconscious, we're always going to recreate our stories that we tell ourselves in our minds. And these stories, trust me, they've been running for as long as you're alive, for as long as I'm alive, for as long as you're alive, because these are the stories that once we get born, we start experiencing life in a certain way, in a certain environment, and we start creating these stories in our minds that create later on the experiences that we have in our life. And some of them can be really painful. And what's interesting is that our minds, because our mind is trying to keep us safe and secure, right? We have this instinct for self preservation and survival. And in order to be able to survive and self-preserve energy, our mind protects us from being hurt. Our mind protects us from being who we are. Because if we are open to love, to be who we are, we could be rejected, we could be hurt. And in order to protect us from all these actual beauties in our life that we all actually strive for, in order to protect us from the pain that might occur, it actually shuts us down. It tells us to play small. It tells us to really be a small version of ourselves, essentially play a role of somebody who we are not, play a role of a little person that doesn't have any purpose in anything to give to the world. That is the role that everyone plays. We are all actors in our own movie. Unless we become self-aware, unless we start taking charge of our life, to really go deep within and understand, who are we? Who are you? Who am I? Is the question that we need to keep asking over and over and over again in our lives in order to discover deeper truths and realizations of who you really are. Because that question doesn't have an answer, a definite answer. The answer is going to be different in the different moment in life. So I strongly encourage every one of us to contemplate and sit with this question, because if we don't change the place that we are coming from, the place from which we create, we are never going to be able to create a change in our lives. Because if we keep on trying to change our jobs, our partners, our friends, our environment, we're always going to bring ourselves into the picture. We're always going to come from the same place, unless we dive deep to see, what are we creating, and from which part of ourselves are we creating? Are we creating from our limited sense of self that has all our belief system, that part of ourselves that try to protect us from our greatness, from our beauty, from our authenticity, because it's scared that we're going to be hurt? Because this is an option. It exists as an option. It can occur, and it does occur in life. And in order to avoid pain, it goes into hiding and having a painful experience in life. This is what our minds tell us. Our minds tell us, Let me be in pain, play small, not be myself, not live my talents and my truth, not live my greatness and potential. Be in pain because my life is not as the way I'd love it to be, so that I can protect myself from being hurt and pain. So let me live in pain to protect myself from pain. That's what our minds are telling us. It is a negative spiral that we cannot escape unless we become self-aware. No matter where we are coming from, a rich or a poor family, or whatever background you might have, it does not matter. We cannot ever live our true and great potential that we came with, that's inherently ours. And we can never live abundantly life the way our soul and heart wants and desires unless we become self-aware. Unless we start peeling the layers of the unconscious mind and really start admitting deeper truths that are not always convenient about ourselves. Unless we are brutally honest about what is really going on in our unconscious mind, we're never going to be able to create a lasting change, because we're always going to come from that limited sense of self. And when we do that, we cannot enjoy the great abundance that exists that exists in the universe. Because the universe can only give us as much as we can open to receive. And it's our own responsibility to dive deep and understand, what is our limit? How much are we open to that abundance? And what part of me is resisting that abundance? And why am I not more open to that abundance? What are the beliefs that I hold, and the stories that I keep telling myself that keep me small, and they keep me closed and create limited space within me for that abundance? And 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 only when we dive deep into that place, that vulnerable place of ours, this is when we discover, oh, I actually believe in my unconscious mind that I'm unworthy of love. This is why I'm constantly being attracted and keep attracting men that hurt me, because in my mind I don't deserve to be loved. Or maybe we say to ourselves, oh, wow, this and that happened in my life when I was a child, and that made me believe in my mind that I'm not good enough. And this is why I can never get the promotion that I'm striving for. And I constantly keep projecting that onto other people, constantly not delivering, on particular work, and constantly, not showing my true potential to other people, and fail, and therefore not being able to receive that promotion. Or maybe we discover that we don't trust life, and we keep on rejecting great opportunities that are actually true for us and will really serve us, serve our potential in our future. And there's just so many other things that we can discover in our unconscious minds, so many different stories we tell to ourselves that are not true, that are simply not true. These are made up beliefs by our own minds, in fact, by ourselves, in order to protect us, to keep us small, which is in our minds safe and secure, in order to avoid being hurt, which is a normal state of being, because that state of being protects us from actually from dying. Because if we didn't have that sense of survival, we will be jumping, from the window, and we wouldn't know that we're going to die. So that part of us actually has a very particular purpose in our lives. It's a very useful it's a very useful part of us that actually protects us to be alive. But when it comes to realizing our true potential, there is a part of us that resists that, because we are scared. And we need to understand which part of us we are giving the power to. Are we creating from a limited sense of self that is always going to attract pain to protect us from pain? See how I was going to say fucked up it is. Excuse me for my language, but see how crazy this is. And are we creating from our expanded sense of self that helps us grow, that helps us expand, that is open to opportunities, that is open for love, that is open for for the beauty and the abundance of life, right? So these are two very different states of being, and depending on which part of ourselves we are creating, these are the results that we are going to create. If we're creating from our limited sense of self, we're going to create limited results and a lot of pain, in fact, because we all know that this is not us. We all know that this is not the truth of us. So we're always going to be in pain, and we're always going to be unsatisfied because this is not the truth of who we are. But if we take the time to cultivate some inner peace within us and to really listen to what stories are we telling ourselves in our mind, what are those limiting beliefs, what have we experienced in our childhood that made us believe what we believe, and really acknowledge what's happening inside, no matter how painful it is, no matter how painful it is, because when you realize and really face your pain, you're going to experience the pain once, and you're going to take the power out of it, and you're going to start making changes. But if you don't face your pain, it's going to hurt you until the end of the rest of your life. So you might as well just face it earlier. Little deaths every day actually prevent being dead, because the more pains we realize we have and release, the lighter we become, more space we create for abundance, more space we create for things that actually do serve us, to things that actually bring us love and joy, and bring us happiness, and bring us all these beautiful things that we want. And this is where we all want to be. We all want to be here, living our lives in a way that keeps us motivated and inspired. And all that doesn't happen when we're operating from our limited sense of self, trying to protect us from being overwhelmed in the world or being hurt. It happens when we operate at a certain vibration that gives us enough challenge to keep us motivated and empowered, but not overwhelmed to go into stress. So it's all about finding that frequency that you would love to operate from. And that balance is going to be different from everyone. In fact, if I'm going to have to be completely honest with you, the more tension you're able to hold without freaking out, the greater the results you're going to achieve. It is the creative process is tension based. The more tension you can hold, it's not stress. The more tension you can hold without going into stress, the more the bigger end results you can actually achieve. And it's a muscle. It's a muscle that we cultivate. It's a muscle that we can learn to cultivate, to grow and expand. And over time, more tension we will be able to hold. It's called expansion. It's called growth. But we need to start from somewhere. And the first step is self-awareness. We can never create and manifest our true potential unless we become self-aware. So self-aware is a condition. It is a step, the first step that needs to exist in order to realize our true potential in our lives. So in order to create all the things that we'd love to create, and in order to be truly fulfilled and happy in our lives, we need to be more self-aware. We need to be self-aware. We need to understand which part of ourselves are we giving the power to. Are we creating from the limited sense of self, or are we creating from our empowered, great, expanded sense of self that exists within us, which is technically our higher self? So this is why we need to be more self-aware. And I'd like to go through how we can actually improve our self-awareness, what techniques and practices actually exist in the world that we can actually use to become more self-aware. And I broadly divide them into two categories: willful practices and unwillful practices. So the willful practices are practices that require our will, to technically go through various processes to dig deeper into ourselves, to become more self-aware, and receive certain insights, which very often means going through various meditations, various types of yoga or Kundalini yoga, various breathing practices, or various different exercises that actually connect you with your intuition to receive intuitive insight and start being guided in your life from your intuition. Intuition is in Tao, the inner God in translation. So the willful practice is us consciously choosing to develop the connection with our intuition, to receive intuitive insight about what's going on in our unconscious mind, how are we sabotaging ourselves, and really what are the next steps to really get over ourselves and go in favor of our vision, which is where we would love to be. So it's a very methodical, very process orientated, very end result orientated, very, very methodical way of creating our reality. It is therefore called willful practice, because we use our will to reach a certain state or to create a certain result. We go from point A to point B, being guided from where we are now to where we would love to be, guided by our intuition through our life. So these are different types of willful practices that we could use to grow our self-awareness and create beautiful end results of our life. There are various other techniques that exist in the world. There's hypnotherapy, there are constellations, all sorts of different kinds of practices that exist. Various practitioners use different practices. I particularly love using intuition for self-awareness because I've never experienced anything more powerful than an intuitive guidance in life. Intuitive work has actually helped me create incredible results in my life that I never thought and never believed I could create, which demystifies the idea that you need to trust and believe in something to create it, which is not true. Everything great that I've created in my life, I never believed it, I never trusted it, I just chose it and went for it. So believing with trusting here is not an issue. We work here with practices and methods that actually, when applied, produce results, whether you believe it or not. It is just techniques. So these are willful practices. And unwillful practices are practices that require you to actually abandon your will and completely surrender to what is, completely surrender to what's happening for you, completely surrender to receive insight and information, and to just really be and sit with what is. So this is the so-called Shaktipat method, or what I like to call the Hermetic way and principle of transmitting information, which is, a person who is the channeler or the medium of that. This is somebody who is already connected to a particular channel, to particular, divine energy, can become channel for somebody else to receive, can become the transmitter for somebody else to receive that wisdom, that knowledge, that insight, by giving this person an energetic experience, which means that the person who is a channeler is, becomes empty and serves the person by being a channeler and channeling the energy into the person, and then the receiver needs to completely surrender to the experience, so that they can receive the energy transmission of the frequencies within their energy field. And when that happens, the person starts having various experiences on mental, emotional, physical, energetic, and spiritual level. Various different insights can happen, emotional releases, realizations, visions, physical movements, all sort of experiences can actually happen. And the easiest way to explain it is probably the way computers and softwares work. The channeler is the person that actually downloads and connects us to the server, and the receiver is open to receive and install that software in our own computer. So once installed during the session, we start having very different experiences in our lives, because as we adjust the frequencies from within, we are human beings. It takes time to adjust the frequencies over time. It happens so we can receive. So during the session, we can have various experiences, and after the session, we can also have various different kinds of experiences, because the energies are still adjusting to operate at this new frequency, this new vibration. Because as soon as a new vibration enters our energy field, we start changing, because frequency is simply information, and we don't always understand what we've received as an information. Sometimes we very clearly have visions and experiences of what we are going through, and sometimes it's not very clear. Sometimes adjustments are happening, but we're not very aware what exactly is happening, and that is because our minds are limited and cannot comprehend and perceive everything that the life force can actually give and present to us, right? Because the life force is the connection with the greater consciousness. So opening up to that channel actually to awaken our life force and our non-dual state of consciousness, which actually happened during CAP, which is the Kundalini activation process that I use to guide people through the surrender process. So during that, when people open up, neither me nor the person sometimes know exactly what transmission, what experience and information insight is being transferred, but the person figures it out later on in their life, because they start noticing changes in their body, in their way of thinking, in their approach, in the way people react to them. Things start changing, and when you observe all these changes, you start noticing what is actually happening for you. Having said that, sometimes it's very clear, sometimes it's very obvious and very clear, and the person knows exactly what transmission they're receiving. So it can vary. This is why it's the path to surrender, because you cannot have any expectations, you cannot have any demands. You'll always receive what is in your highest and best good and what is needed for you to go to the next level. You will never receive what you just want like that. You'll always receive what is needed, what is true, and what serves you the most to receive as an information, as a transmission, as an energy frequency. So therefore, it's called the path of surrender. So as you can see, the path of will and the path of surrender are the two ends of a spectrum. And these are two different categories of modalities that I would always advise to use in combination, because when you use in combination, you can really create a balance in your life. Because if you use only the willful practices are great to achieve great end results, but they can get you so much into the doing and so much into action taking that the life can become so goal orientated that you forget to actually enjoy your life. It is the masculine way of creating, not which is available not just to men. It is the masculine way of creating, which is a way to create masculine principles of the universe. So you can use that to achieve goals and results. But if you focus only on that and you don't allow any sort of surrender in your life, then you're most likely going to go into too much control, and your life is going to become very dry and not very fulfilling, because you're going to be missing out on the magic of life. You're going to be missing out on all these synchronicities, because you will not be allowing for any magic to happen in your life. You're constantly going to be achieving results, but you're not still going to feel very fulfilled and complete. Whilst if you focus too much on the unwillful practice, so the path of surrender, you may start losing direction in life, because life is abundant, but life can be abundant, in so many different directions. And if you do not take charge of your life to apply your will, you could be dragged along many and various different directions that you might even feel lost, even though there are so many great things happening in your life. You might lack substance. You might feel like you're lacking substance. You might feel that connection, but with the higher, but you will probably start noticing lack of consistency in your life. So therefore, it is very important, in my opinion, to try those different modalities and different practices and see which ones you prefer the most, and really see and find your own balance between the two. Your balance between the two, so that you can be in charge of your life and keep creating, your truth and your talents, and keep creating all the things that are true and meaningful to you, but also allowing space for the universe to bring magic to you, allowing space for beauty to happen, to connect with people, to enjoy life, and to really enjoy the juice of life in the end of the day, right? We all are here to enjoy our life, not just to be machines for creating, but to also, create our joy, to create our joy and allow ourselves to experience that joy. to be able to just open up and surrender. So it is, which is the feminine principles of creating, which again has nothing to do with being man or a woman. These are both principles of creating that are available to every living being on this planet. So I'd like to just again say a few words about the events that are happening, because this Sunday we're doing for the first time CAP in person in London, and that workshop is all about surrendering. It's a CAP practice, Kundalini activation practice, where we awaken the life force and we surrender to what is. It's a practice where we receive deep insight, in deep realizations and deep transformations from within. And if you would love to come and experience that deep process of self-realization, it's the best time to get and come along, because we are going to be 2 facilitators, and the event is going to be truly magical, more powerful than usual, because you're going to receive 2 powerful transmissions from 2 facilitators. So it will be really, really magical. So if you want to come and you want more details, please write in the comments below the word CAP and I'll send you more details. The other event that is happening is on the 4th of December. It is next Saturday. And this is an event where me and Stanislava, who is the founder of Coaching Real, are collaborating together to create this beautiful compilation of willful and unwillful practice together in one workshop. We've never done this before, so it's going to be very exciting and very unique experience, where we are going to teach you a willful practice and give you an experience of an unwillful practice altogether. It's going to be online, so it's available to anybody wherever you are on the planet to come along. You just need to check the time difference. We're going to start at 11 a.m. UK British Summer Time. So we are going to dedicate the first half hour to a willful practice that I'd like you to absorb and have a go during the workshop, so that you can take it away and really learn it and embrace it and really take it away, so you can apply it in your own life to create beautiful things in life. And the second part of the workshop is going to be the path of surrender, where you're going to receive a transmission online and have your own experience of the path of surrender, which is going to give you a taste of what it really feels to be truly surrendered to what is, and receive powerful insight and transformation, and observe how that's playing out in your life. So it's going to be a very unique experience, which if you'd like to experience, you can join the group that I've posted in the comments for free, and you'll be able to receive there the beautiful discount that Stanislava and I provided for the people that are particularly participants in this group. So there will be a lot of exciting stuff coming up in this group this weekend. I'll be posting more information, more insight, and I've also am thinking of creating something really interesting in this group this weekend. So come along to play a little game with me, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in my live events or online. Thank you very much for being here tonight. I'm wishing you a lot of wishing you just a great night or a great day, wherever, depending on where you are, which time zone you're in. I'm just wishing you a lot of magic, a lot of love, and a bit more surrender in life. I think we've become a bit more in control of our lives, and we need a bit more surrender. So wishing you, to those of you who need more surrender, have a more surrendered day, and to those of you who need to be more in charge, have a more decision-making and impactful, empowered day. Sending you beautiful energy to all of you, and I'll see you next time in Coaching Real Studio. It's been a pleasure being with you today.